Hello, I'm Pamela Davis. Welcome to episode 89 of the Well Done Life podcast. Hello, and welcome back to episode 89 of the Well Done Life podcast. I'm your host, Pamela Davis. If you are new here, hey, how are you? Welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. I hope you stay a while. If you've been here before, you guys know the routine. I love you deep, and I really appreciate your support. Thank you so much for continuing to support me on this journey. I couldn't do this without you. Before we get into this week's episode, I want to make sure that I lay the foundation. I think it's important that everyone here know that we're building a safe space, and that's what this is all about. So I want to make sure that you understand that this safe space is built on two very important things. It's built on clarity and it's built on love. For clarity, it's just important that you understand that the Well Done Life podcast is a podcast that I created for women. I created this space because I wanted women to have an area where we could come together, talk, share the good, the bad, the ugly within our lives, and learn and grow from each other. You see, I really believe that women are the foundation of society, and I think that we need more opportunities to connect with each other in real levels. So that's what this is all about. I want us to be able to pour into each other because I feel like as women, when we do that and we give an opportunity and space for us to really learn from each other, there's nothing that we can't do. We might be able to actually spare somebody from some of the tragedies that we've gone through. We might be able to encourage someone to their next level. We might even ourselves find space in here to grow even more than what we are already growing. So welcome, and I hope that I add value to you, and I look forward to connecting with you. So now that you understand why you're here, I want you to understand that everything in this space is rooted in love. Love is the thing. It is one of my favorite things. And so with that, I always like to make sure that I share prayers with you every week because one, I just don't feel like we all pray enough for each other. Lord knows the world isn't crazy enough. We need to pray for each other. And then two, I want you to understand that you're supported in here and you are valued and cared for. So with that, I like to make sure that I am sending you this week prayers of love, prayers of peace. Lord knows, going into Thanksgiving, I'm sure some folks really need some peace. And then I'm also sending you prayers of prosperity. And I want you to also have wonderful health, mental and physical health. And I just hope that you get a prayer of being able to rest as well. This is a really busy time, and it's so easy to get caught back up in the rat race of it all. Don't forget to take time and space and energy to give your body and your mind the rest that it needs to fuel you through, because it is just a busy time, but it's also a really abundant time for you. This is the end of the year. And in the end of the year, it's an opportunity for us to prepare for our next levels. So give yourself that opportunity and space to cultivate that within for you. So that kind of even springboards into our this week's episode. I want to first, before we get started, say that I am really grateful for all of the feedback to last week's episode, The Keys. It was really cool to hear people be able to relate to so many of the different keys, and that's me saying keys in my DJ Khaled voice. I got the keys, keys, keys. I got the keys, keys. See, I'm sorry. The hip hop jumped out at me just a little bit, so let me bring it back. But yes, the keys or recommendations, because all of those books that I shared with you, I've read one and then two, I wanted to share those with you because I feel like each of them can help you at a different variation or different iteration of yourself where you are on the journey. Because if we've learned anything, there's no one size fits all to being able to move to your next level. And we're all going to be at different points based upon what we're going through. So sometimes you need to be able to glean into a resource that is right where you're at. So it can help show you that one, you can overcome what you are facing. Or two, you know what, just keep going. You are almost right where you need to be for that next level. And it gives you that opportunity to see that, you're just not alone. Because a lot of times when we are out here trying to cultivate our next level, it is really easy to feel alone in that process. Even though you have people around you, or you may have people around you that you can talk to, it's still something that a lot of times when you're on the journey, you internalize. So I wanted to make sure that I gave you resources that can help you if you're feeling stagnant. I wanted to make sure that I gave you resources that can help you learn how to manifest and to step further into your abundance. I wanted to help you with resources if you're a creative and you are struggling with that. I wanted to make sure that I gave you resources if you are trying to establish boundaries. Wanted to make sure you know that there are resources for someone who's actually even just trying to figure out how to really tap into their boundaries, to their voice, to their mind, so that they can just live a well-balanced life. There are resources out there, and I can tell you each one of those books has had a profound impact on me at the times that I have read them, and even now that I think about it. And I'm going to probably go back. I know I was actually talking to someone today, and I was like, I have to pull back and put Abundance Now by Lisa Nichols on my New Year's reading list because I haven't read it in a while. Some of the other ones I read often, or I have prompts constantly around me, especially with the Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, to keep me focused so that I don't go off track. So again, I hope that you are able to tap into some of those things and help find what you need to, really be fulfilled and to be supported in your journey to your next level, because this is that time of unending abundance. And so you have to be an active participant in your goals. And that is something that hopefully this episode will help you be able to figure out what you need. So I'm going to link episode 88, The Keys, in the show notes so that you can get an opportunity to listen to it if you haven't. But I definitely would recommend, obviously, that you check it out, because as we have been on these series of, our jumping off point, our stepping off point, and the keys, we're in that phase, like I was mentioning, where it's an unending abundant time. And right now, especially with the holidays, it's a very easy time for you to be distracted. So that's why I wanted to make sure that I prioritized rest, because when you rest, when you give yourself that time to sit still, you give your mind time to get clear and to relax. And I know that looks very different for each of us depending on our families and our other obligations, but give yourself that space so that you can cultivate that. But one thing I wanted to talk about this week is because as we are starting to kind of wind down and think about, those things that we want to accomplish in 2022, one thing that I think is going to be very important for us to do is to sit with ourselves and to analyze our years. In actuality, I think for me, I've been thinking about it. I've been analyzing the last 2 years, because we've been in a season like no other. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I've never lived in a global pandemic before. I've never seen the things in these past 2 years that I have seen, and I never expected to at this point. And maybe that was just me being naive, but I didn't expect us to be in a pandemic. I didn't expect us to see so much civil unrest. I didn't expect us to see a possible insurrection. I mean, there's just so much trauma that we have seen and had to process. And so I was like, wow, the fact that we have made it this far is an accomplishment. I think about it as well. We've seen so much death. I mean, it has just been such a trying few years. And so I said, wow, I really want to process that. And I kind of talked about it in the stepping off point in episode 87, and I'll link that one as well. But when you are, sitting here and putting yourself together to think about how you want to go into 2022, it is very important to look at where you have been, the good and the bad. And a lot of times, it's easy to get caught up in just all the good things. And you want to celebrate the successes, because your success is like a highlight reel. It's like a battery in your back that's going to help push you forward. But then at the same time, you have to talk about the things that just didn't work out. And when I've talked about that before, I've always mentioned how, it is very important to realize that a lot of times we are delayed but not denied, and how you have to forgive yourself for whatever you may have done that contributed to that delay. But then at the same time, you also need to analyze that delay and ask yourself, how are you grateful that maybe you were delayed, because it might have actually saved you from something even more traumatic? I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I have been in situations where I'm like, whoo, thank God that did not work out for me, because it just would have destroyed things. And I've had that happen through in situations with jobs, with friends, with relationships, where it's like, ooh, I thought if I got this one thing or this one person in my life, how my life would have been better. But then hindsight being 2020, you look at that situation and you think, ooh, no. If I had gotten that job, I probably would have been even more stressed. If I had had this relationship with that dude, I definitely would have been more stressed, and it would have just been not what I needed at that particular time. It wouldn't have served me. And I don't know about you guys, how often do we really think about it in that context? Because a lot of times we focus so much on the delay, and we focus on our feelings about being delayed. I'm being, God might not be listening to me. I've heard people say that. Or, oh, it's just not going to work out. Things don't ever work out for me. I don't know. I guess it's just not going to ever be my time. And when you speak over yourself in that regard, all you do is put that energy into the atmosphere and into your mind. And it can prevent you from really being able to fully execute your goals, because you're holding yourself back because you doubt you. It's not like God doubts you. God never doubts you. It's just that God always says sometimes to us, nah, sometimes I need you to sit down for a few minutes. You're not ready for this. Or I have something better for you. But we don't ever process it a lot of times in that way. So I feel like when you have an opportunity to look back at the highlight reels of our lives, it is very important to look at it from a perspective of, wow, if that didn't work out, am I better because it didn't work out? And to be able to be grateful about that and express your gratitude for it not working out. And gratitude, I always tend to be very foundational. Y'all who are new to my podcast, you will realize that I love saying the word foundational, but I do. It's just like my favorite thing, because I think it's very important to give people context as to where, you're going. So I want to make sure I give you guys clear context. For me, I really do love a good dictionary, and Merriam-Webster is my favorite. So you guys know that since we are talking about gratitude, I wanted to make sure we have a clear understanding of what gratitude is, because we're sitting here talking about appreciation and thanks in situations that didn't work out for us. And I know that can be a little bit hard to process, but really that is a personification of gratitude, because the essential meaning of gratitude is a feeling of appreciation or thanks. And in those situations where you are looking at your life, doing this analysis of the last year or 2 years of your life, and you see things that didn't work out, and in that moment where you're like, ooh, thank goodness I didn't get that, that is appreciation, that is gratitude. And you have to put that into the atmosphere, because that shows your mind, that gives your mind and your heart the opportunity to hear you speak and give words to the fact that you're grateful you didn't go down this path, and that it is okay that you were delayed, because you want to make sure that you help give clarity and closure to that delay, so that you can be ready for it to be received in a different way, and maybe even in a different situation, so that you can receive your abundance. Because when you hold on to what didn't work out for you, all you do is hold yourself back even further. You delay your promise even longer, versus just saying, you know what, it didn't work out. I'm cool. It didn't work out. I'm actually grateful. I wasn't ready. Analyzing ourselves and doing the work to help make sure that you are prepared for that season when it comes back around. If you do that, then you will have the abundance. But if you don't do that, then a lot of times what I have found is that we will wind up in a cycle of constantly repeating things. And so that is one of the reasons why I wanted to also talk about gratitude today, because like I said, we are in this season of unending abundance, but we are also in this season where we have seen so many things happen, where we have experienced so much trauma, where yes, a lot of times we have been delayed as well as we have been blessed. So it's like you've got to really sit up and look at your life and do the twofold. You got to sit up and be grateful for the blessings, because we have many things to be grateful for. Let's start there, because gratitude is always the easiest part to do. It is. I don't know about y'all, but I am grateful the fact that I am sitting here blessed and favored. My family is intact and healthy, and after everything that we have seen going on, I have to always give great gratitude for that. And in the fact that I am in my right mind and happy, because those are things to be grateful for. And my family is in that. And we have gone through some things this year. It has been a trying time, but we made it through. And in these last 2 years, we have become even closer. And I am grateful for that closeness, because that really gave me an opportunity to really refocus my goals on what matters versus chasing jobs and chasing checks. Not that I still don't, I'm still focused on doing what I want to do and living my life on my terms financially and all those great things. But I've also learned the fact that there has to be balance, and that the greatest riches that I have come from right within my own home. And they are priceless. And I am grateful for them. And that's my mother and my sister. And of course, I'm grateful I have wonderful friends in my life who pour into me and make me feel supported and encouraged. I'm blessed, and I'm very grateful for them. And then I'm grateful I've got a roof over my head. I'm grateful I have a job. I mean, those basic things. And then I'm also grateful that I have you guys sitting here and talking to you for these last 2 years has just really filled my heart with so much love. And it has really shown me what I've really loved to do. This is a passion for me. This isn't a job for me. This isn't a come up for me. This is something that I do because it is truly what I love. I love pouring into other people, and I get poured into, and having real honest conversations and learning about people. That inspires me to keep growing and learning. So it's just like God gave me this beautiful gift, and it had been a gift that I had been working on and doubting in myself so much before it to come to pass so quickly. Once I let go of my own fears and thoughts, it truly showed me the power of that. And I am just eternally grateful. And I hope I'm sorry, I sound a little choked up, but I get choked up when I talk about y'all, when I talk about these things, because there's just so much, that I am grateful for. And see, to me, I think everybody needs a moment like that, especially in these years that we have seen. We need moments where we sit down and we think about all the things in our life that give us happiness, that give us joy, that give us peace, that inspire us to be better. Those are the batteries in our back that will help us as we are writing our goals going into 2022, that we are setting the foundation for ourselves beyond 2022 and moving forward, because those show you where your heart is, where your values are, and those have to be aligned in your plans to move forward into these next year. You can't just focus on the material. You've got to focus on the things that align to your spirit, to your soul, to your values, because you're not just working on goals to be able to achieve another financial level. You're working on goals that are going to help you on a spiritual level, that are going to help you on a personal level grow and be the best iterations of yourself. Because remember, I've told you all before, many of us are born into this world to be a gift. So each of you that are feeling that pull, that desire within yourself to be better, to do better, listen to that pull. That pull is your purpose. feed into it, fall into it, and you will be supported. So it is very important that we have these moments where we get clear in gratitude, especially now, especially around Thanksgiving. As many of you all are spending time with your family, every moment that you are spending with them is an opportunity for you to be in gratitude. And that gratitude will help you. You want to feel it. You want to acknowledge it. Because remember, as you are on the jumping off point, or the stepping off point, you have to have those moments too, because you now know what really makes you happy, what makes you feel fulfilled, and you want to replicate that feeling. So you want to align your goals with that as well. That's why I said it must align with your values. It must align with your heart and your center, because all of those things work in tandem to help you move to the next level. So that's why it is important to give yourself space for gratitude. And then when you're in gratitude too, not just talking about the good things, because the good things they fill us up. They make us emotional. You hear my voice cracking because I'm just feeling all the emotions and all the memories coming, flushing back to me about all the things that I am grateful for. I am also thinking about the things that did not work out. And I have to admit, knock on my little wooden head, I do feel like more things worked in my favor versus not. But the things that did not work in my favor, I realized this year, I am grateful for them because they showed me that I was equipped to handle them. And this year, being in gratitude and realizing the things that just didn't go the way that I thought they were going to go showed me that if I surrender my fears and forgive myself for my part, whatever it may have been that may have delayed what I envisioned moving through to the next level, I could handle it. I mean, I've had this project that I have been working on with the podcast for a while. And I was gung-ho for a while. Things were moving through. And I thought I was going to have it ready to go by the end of this year. But I have since realized that is not going to happen. And it's not really anyone's fault. It's just life is lifing. And things just did not work out. And you know what? I'm okay with that. I'm actually grateful because I think that if I had worked, I would have felt like it was rushed. And I have learned to realize that timing is everything and that it just wasn't the proper time. I'm still learning that lesson of timing, because I have to admit, another thing that I'm also learning is that when I am overwhelmed or afraid, I will prioritize other things ahead of my goal. And so I have to work through that. And that's just me being transparent. And I'm working on that. But I'm grateful for that lesson, because now I know how to move when I'm doing other big things that scare the crap out of me, that I can't run from them. I have to keep going. And it's just something that I had to work through. But again, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the lesson so that I don't always find myself doomed to repeat it. And I'm not. Luckily, I have a great brand manager who holds me accountable gently and kindly and understands. And we're working through it. And I'm really excited because I know that when this new time that I have said it will launch, it will launch. And she might be listening to this and wondering, because I owe her materials, are we really going to launch them? But yes, we are, because believe me, I am checked in and I'm going to follow through. But again, that was a lesson that I had to learn. I had to get clear about why I didn't succeed. And I had to forgive myself for that. And then I had to get back in there and get the work done. See, that's the thing. It's like when stuff doesn't go our way, we just can't sit and lick our wounds and just let it go. You have to analyze it, especially now at the stages of our life. I mean, we're young, but we're not like super young. We're adults. And as adults, we can't keep running from our problems. We ran from our problems when we were young and we had our parents behind us. But now this is us and we have to face ourselves, especially because we're always trying to aspire to new levels. We're trying to be the best versions of ourselves. And we have to acknowledge when we use different tactics within ourselves because we're not confident or because we're afraid or we're overwhelmed or what have you that contribute to certain goals that we aspire to being delayed. We have to acknowledge those things and we have to be honest about what we're facing and what we're dealing with, because there's resources out there and people out there who can help us process through it. And then two, so that we can identify the behavior and learn how to cultivate a different path. We don't always have to have the same cycles. We're the ones that keep those cycles going because we just continuously stay in fear. And it's funny, the first thing that I came to my mind when I just said that was one of the books that I recommended in last week's episode. And it is Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. And I love this book. And it is a book more so for creatives. But I've said it before and I've shared it before on the podcast. There is a specific thing that she says. She learned to speak to her fear. She learned how to allow fear to be a part of the journey with her, but not to stop her from being able to move forward with her goal. And it is so important, whether you're a creative or not, that you learn how to do that, because a lot of times we hold ourselves back from our next level because of fear. We want to be big, but we're afraid. And I hate to tell you, or actually I'd love to tell you, there's enough room out here for everybody. You don't need to sell yourself short because you're second guessing whether or not you have value. If you have a great idea, a good product, or a good initiative that you feel would add value, what do you have to lose by putting it in the atmosphere? And that initiative doesn't always have to be on an entrepreneurial level. It could be if you're in a corporate structure as well. I'm just saying, put yourself out there. Don't be afraid of it. I was afraid to do this. Y'all, I told you guys in my first episode 2 years ago, I literally just had to figure out how to start. I was so nervous. I was so afraid. I so didn't feel like I added value. And here I am 2 years later, and I have people telling me that I add value. So stop second guessing yourself. Give yourself the space to forgive yourself for the things that just did not work out, and you go back in. That's why it's so important to have gratitude, because in gratitude, you are thankful for the fact that you learned that about yourself and that you can figure out how to move differently now. And see, that's why I want you to do it right now. I want you to sit there and do this analysis of yourself, of your life over this past year or even 2 years, and give yourself that space, because going into 2022, we all deserve a clean slate. I'm sorry, after these last 2 years we have been through, we all deserve a clean slate. We have all been forever changed by this situation. And I don't think the change is for the bad. I think this change was an opportunity for us to set ourselves up for our next level, for us to be prepared and expectant of our new abundance, our new blessing. So give yourself the opportunity to do the work so that you are ready to receive it, because this is your time and there is nothing in your way but you. That's why you want to make sure that you are constantly grateful for the good and the bad things, because once you allow that to come through your mind and your heart and your words, you give yourself the space to forgive. You give yourself the space to be open. Let me tell you, I used to carry a lot more stress with me, especially as it related to, if I think about it, doing this. Like I told y'all, this was 10 years in the making before I even got to the first episode, because I was so afraid. I so second guessed myself, but I had to forgive myself for that. And I have had to forgive myself for a lot of things. A lot. Some things I'm just not ready. Still not ready to talk about y'all yet. Still not. But let me tell you, in these 48 years, I have had to learn from a lot of different missteps. And I feel grateful to be entering into this new year, not holding on to so many of my past baggage and feeling grateful about where I am on the journey and feeling grateful about the next level that I plan to aspire to, because I'm not the same person I was back then. I'm not the same person I was 6 months ago. And that's okay. That's a good thing, because I realize that I am a growing, changing, evolving queen, and I'm owning it. And I want you to own it too. And so that's why I said it is very important that you give yourself that space. And really this week, it's not about trying to give you guys a list, because there's really not. It's not a list to gratitude. I'm trying to even think about some things that you can do. And I've talked about it before in episode 87 with the stepping off point, being able to either write a letter to yourself or record a video to yourself, giving yourself that space to forgive yourself. You have to put words to it. And really, like I said, look at the things that have gone well, think of the things that didn't go right, and look at what you have learned and try to take every situation and find something to be grateful for. Find the lesson in it, because that is your opportunity to heal, to give closure, to start the healing process, to heal from the things that just didn't work out, and to open yourself to the new levels, because now you're not holding on to those past pains any longer. It is very important. So you can write it down. Like I said, you can do video. I have written it down. I have a letter, and I also have 2 videos in my phone that one video in particular I've watched already at the 6-month point, and then I'll be watching one at the end of the year as well that I did for me. And those are things that I just, did under the guidance of Alex L., who I love referring and talking to, because she did the intensive where we did some light work to try to help get through trauma and talk about things. But I definitely think that, you don't have to do that. You can also take it upon yourself. But even if you find that taking it upon yourself feels like that might just be a little bit too heavy of a load to bear, yes, I'm sure you all are tired of me saying this, but I'm going to keep saying it. There is nothing wrong with therapy. And if 2022 is the year that you feel like you might need to go into therapy, you should go. Therapy is a beautiful thing. I have really enjoyed my time when I was there. It really helped me. It was not easy, but the work that I did has really helped me be better and more in control of my emotions and my thoughts and just how I want to navigate and move through life. And believe me, if at any point in time I feel like I need to tune in or check in, I will definitely go. There is no shame in my game. I'm all about that therapy life, because it is just important for you to give yourself the space to heal however you need to heal. So I always like to make sure that I say that, because I feel like, therapy gets a bad rap. And everybody's like, some people glamorize it and make it sound like the trendy thing to do. It's work. And it's also a very honest and real thing to do. And if you are at that point where you need that, I support you, I encourage you, and I pray for you that you find exactly what you're looking for, because I'm sorry, as we are not getting any younger, we are getting older, even though I really do feel like some of us are aging like Benjamin Button. But at the same time, we're maturing. And as people who are maturing, you deserve to be able to live the best life on your terms that you can possibly live. Give yourself the space in the room to do that, be it through journaling, through counseling, through therapy, whatever you need. It's your time to do that. But be grateful. Find gratitude in it all, because that gratitude is the key to abundance. It's the key to it. Because when you can be grateful in the situations that didn't work out for you, not just the stuff that really worked out, but in the situations that did not work out for you, you open yourself up for even more blessing, because of the fact that you are grateful for the little. You can be grateful for the much. And that's a biblical passage as well, but I just cannot remember the specific Bible passage. And if I remember it, I'll throw it in there. But yes, I do feel like that is an opening. And so it is very important to always keep gratitude. And I wanted to, like I said, talk about it now because we're in the holiday season. And I mean, it's 2 years, and many of us are getting a chance to spend time with family and make memories that we haven't made over the last 2 years. And, feeling a little bit more comfortable because things appear to be kind of calming down with COVID. I pray that they stay that way so that we can start to move forward, with more closeness with people and situations. But at the same time, gratitude is it's just like the perfect time because these memories that we are getting the opportunity to create, this time that we're in, is very special. Holidays are not just about gifts, it's about the memories. I have to admit, some of my best times with my family has been during the holiday season. And we have our little rituals and things that we do now, even more so, because the holidays are tough for us. My dad passed away 5 days before Christmas, and then my grandmother died on Christmas. So it has always been a challenging time with us with the holidays. And I think a lot of people especially experience loss during this time, or these are the first holidays that you're without loved ones for many, or for those of us that have been in the game, unfortunately, of grief for a while. It gets more tolerable, but it doesn't get easier all the time. And I don't know if that made sense. It just is tolerable. Let me put it that way. So you have to really aspire to find the gratitude and focus on the good times, because you don't want to get caught up in the sadness of that person not being there anymore. And like I said, we've experienced an exorbitant amount of loss in these 2 years. So I think it's just very important to have little moments where we celebrate how grateful we are that we're together, for those of us that are together, and how grateful we are for the memories that we are creating, because these memories that we are making are going to carry us through many, many times when it just gets dark and when we need that. So that's why it's just an important opportunity to really fill your cup up with gratitude. And then at the same time, once you are filling your cup up with that gratitude, you can allow it to help propel you to move forward into how you want to live in 2022, and give yourself that space to forgive yourself with gratitude on the things that did not work out, because that's also a part of it as well. So this is a very special time, and I hope you get an opportunity to, really process and really feel loved and feel grateful, and just really begin to set yourself up for that next level. So I am really excited about all that, this holiday season will bring. I really hope that each of you have had an amazing Thanksgiving with your family. It has been filled with love and lots of great food and lots of memories. I cannot believe we are so close to Christmas. It's bananas. And I have to admit, I'm really excited about it. I'm excited not so much for the gifts. I'll be honest, I'm actually excited to put up my tree, which is crazy. My sister and I have now a tradition where our tree goes up right after Thanksgiving. So by the time y'all heard this, my tree will be up, and I probably will be sitting on my couch looking at Christmas movies under my blanket, looking at the tree. That's how I probably will spend my Sunday when this goes live. But I really, like I said, want to say thank you guys, how much I am really grateful for you, and how much I really hope that this holiday is everything that and more. Kicking off too, it's the first holiday, major one, right before Christmas. Thanksgiving matters too, so I hope it is everything for you, and that this is filled with lots of memories and gratitude for you, because I cannot wait to see each of you move to your next level. I can't wait to see each of you, just grow and just shine like the stars that you are. So thank you, thank you, thank you, like I said, for everything that you have done for me. You have given me so much strength in these 2 years that I have been potting. It has just been amazing, and I really appreciate you. Actually, no. I'm sitting here acting like we're at that 2 years yet. We're not officially 2. She's 1.5. almost 2. 2 will be February 25th. But it just sounds so good. But we're going to keep going with it because I'm manifesting 2, and then we're going to manifest 2 more, and then 2 more after that. But anywho, I'm just grateful for y'all. So thank you guys for everything. Like I said, I hope you have a wonderful holiday. All of the notes will be in the show notes, the links for the episodes, and all my contact information. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me on Instagram at Pamela L. Davis or at the Well Done Life Podcast. You can also tweet me at I am Pamela L. Davis. You can email me at thewelldonelife@gmail.com. I do answer my emails. I try to be really responsive, really quick. Sometimes you'll catch me right when I'm in between work, but if not, I promise I will follow back up with you. And I just want to say also thank you, Ms. Lavender, for reaching out to me about that word chart. I hope it adds value to you. So y'all, I did offer up an example of the word chart that I discussed in episode 87, the stepping off point. If you'd like to see an example of it, please don't hesitate. I will send it to you as well. Because again, it's not one size fits all. It's what works for you. I just want to see everybody win. So thank you guys so much. I will be back next week. We are down to, after this episode, 2 more episodes before I go on break on December the 12th. And then I will be back on January the 9th. So I am looking forward to wrapping this all up in a really pretty bow and sending you all off before I go. But thank you guys and have a wonderful Thanksgiving. And I will talk to you next week. Take care of yourselves. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.